Hello everybody, this is going to be Module 1 review. We have our test coming up in a couple days, and we're going to be reviewing all the standards and concepts that we practiced throughout this module, the 19 lessons. And I'm going to be breaking down each standard and each concept problem by problem so that you can understand what you're going to be tested on and you can practice, study, and review. So let's begin with our first section, that addition and that subtraction facts. We are planning on finding the sum and the difference and show bundling and unbundling to explain your mathematics. So let's begin with A. We are simply going to subtract here. So I am working with A to begin with. So if I have, and I'm going to put these place value holders in between so that you can see that we are lining things up and we are going to add here and bundle when we need to. So 5 plus 6 is 11. Now I'm going to have 1, 1, and I'm going to bundle that group of 1, 10 to the next place value, that 10, the tens place. 1 plus 4, or 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 9 is going to be 13. I'm going to bundle one group of 100. And 1 plus 2 is 300, plus 7 is 10 hundreds. I'm going to put a 0 for 10, and I'm going to bundle one group of 1,000. Okay? 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 6 is 16,000. I am going to put 6,000, bundle that group of 1 10,000s, and we have 1 plus 4 equals 5 10,000s. Plus another 5 is 10. So I get 0, and I'm going to bundle one group of 100,000. 100,000 plus 800,000 is 900,000, and comma. So that is bundling with addition. Pretty simple, pretty simple when it comes down to adding each place value and putting and bundling when you need to. So let's do C. And I'm going to stack it for you, and I want you to solve when you are going through each place value. So let's stack it. I am always going to begin with my largest number. This is 56,395. So let's write it in, but really neat and not messy because we have to stack these in order to add. I am then going to go with my thousands next. Okay, and then I'm going to go with 89. All right, and then I plan to add. And you can see here that I lined all of my place value up where I know I'm going to be adding in the ones, adding in the tens, adding in the hundreds, adding in the thousands, and finally ending in the 10,000s. Okay, so that's our place value, and then we have to bundle. So I'd like for you to solve C on your own in order to get some practice, because you're going to be turning this into me. I'm going to be seeing those students who still need a little assistance in the next class period. So we are going to be working with subtraction next. So pause the video so that you can practice this in the classroom or at home. All right, let's go into that subtraction here. And to get a little bit more practice, we're going to be working on B. Okay? So let's go, let's make those lines for the place value holders so that you can see that I am focusing on each place value here. Cool. So let's start with our ones place. Obviously, I cannot subtract here, so I'm going to try to unbundle. But I can't unbundle from the tens because it's 0. I can't unbundle from the hundreds because, well, that's 0. I can't unbundle from the thousands, that's 0. I can't unbundle from the 10,000s, that is 0. So we are going to have to start here in that 700,000. So I'm going to unbundle. I'm going to take a group of 100,000, and I'm going to bring it over to this 0 and make it 10. And I'm going to have to continue this, because I have to unbundle again to make this 10. And I have to unbundle again to make this 10. And then I have to unbundle again to make this 10. And I have to unbundle one last time to make this 10. And now I can subtract. I'm going to start in my ones place. So 10 subtract 5 is 5. 9 subtract 3 is 6 tens. 9 subtract 2 is 7 hundreds. 9 subtract 1 is 8 thousands. 9 subtract 9 is 0. And 6 subtract 6 is 0. So we don't need those zeros. So my answer is 8,765. Perfect. So that's my first step when it comes to subtracting, is making sure to unbundle. Now, for this next one, I am going to stack them, but I want you to subtract them. So I'm going to begin with my largest number. I'm going to start with that first, 63,705. And then I'm going to subtract my next set, 2,999. And I am going to tell you to look within, sorry, that wasn't straight enough. Look in within each place value, make sure to subtract accurately, and make sure to unbundle where you are supposed to, and make sure you're lining everything up on your place value. Okay? So I would like for you to try D, E, and F just for some practice. You can do this in class or you can do this at home just to make sure that you are unbundling where you should and getting that practice in with addition or subtraction and bundling and unbundling. All right, the next thing we're going to be working on today is we're going to be working on rounding. And we're going to be working on rounding from the tens, the hundreds, the thousands, 10,000s, and 100,000s. I'm going to be using a vertical number line to help me solve for each. And we're working with one number here and rounding each place value to the tens all the way to 100,000s. Our number is 789,654. And so I'm going to be writing this number right here for us, so I can show you the place value and where I am going to be rounding. So let's begin with our first one. We are working in the tens place. Perfect. And I know my tens place is, boom, right here. It's that 5. So what I'm going to be looking at is this 4 and wondering, is it above or below the midpoint? So for our vertical number line, we're going to be working right here. Boom, boom, and boom. And I'm starting with 5 tens. So I'm definitely going to have 50 here. But I need to place the other digits just so that I have them. And see how I'm starting with that 50? And then my next 10 is going to be 60. Don't forget to place those other digits. Boom. And then my midpoint is going to be 55. Don't forget to place those other digits. Perfect. So there we go. Awesome. Now, where is 54? Where is 54 going to be? Well, this 4 tells us that it is below the midpoint. Right? It is definitely below the midpoint, so we are rounding to our minimum number. That's 789,650. Cool. Awesome. So let's do this again, but let's work with the hundreds this time. So I'm going to make another vertical number line. Boom. Minimum, midpoint, and maximum. And we're going to be working in the hundreds. All right, that's 6. I'm looking at this 5 to help me understand it's going to be above or below the midpoint. And that's 600. Well, that's what I'm going to start with. My minimum is going to be 600. And don't forget your 9 and your other digits, 7, 8. And then what's my next 100? Well, it's going to be 700. Awesome. And what's going to be the midpoint? It's going to be 650. Because that's between them. Right, so I got got 600, 650, and 700. And where is 654 going to go? Well, that is going to go above the midpoint only just by a little bit. Literally only 4, right? Only plus 4, but it's gonna round up. So we are gonna round up to our maximum here. Awesome. All right, let's work in our thousands. So instead of underlining that 6, I'm going to be working with 9,000 here. So let's make that vertical number line. Boom. The minimum, the midpoint, and the maximum. And we are working with that 9,000. So that's going to be my minimum is 9,000. Also, do not forget to put the 8 10,000s and, sorry, the 700,000s. And then my maximum is going to be my next 1,000, which is going to be 10,000, but it's going to affect this 8, right? Because we are going to the next 1,000, which is 10,000. So that's 8 is going to turn to 90,000. So we are going to go to 90,000. All right, so 89,000 to 90,000. Perfect. And between them is going to be 9,500. Awesome. So let's check it out. So let's see where our midpoint is going to go. Remember, I am going to be looking at this 6 here to let us know where we are going to round. Is that above or below our midpoint? Well, 789,000. Well, that is going to be above the midpoint, about 154 actually. So we're going to round to the nearest, the maximum. So we are going to go be 790,000. All right. So I would really like for you to try the 10,000s and the 100,000s to get that practice in. And to pause the video and to work those out, I'm going to show you what they look like. So there's nothing to panic, but I would like for you to try D and E on your own so that you can get that practice. So pause and round to the nearest 10,000s and round to the nearest 100,000. All right, so let's work in the 10,000s to get that practice in. Let's erase this real fast. So I'm going to be working in the 10,000s. That means I'm working on this 8, and I'm looking at this 9 to tell me, am I going to round to the maximum or am I going to round down to the minimum? And so let's make that vertical number line one more time. And it's really going to help us because we have 8 10,000s. That means I am going to be working with, sorry, let me keep this in color, 80,000 and 780,000. Now that is my minimum. What is the next 10,000? Well, it is 90,000. Boom. And then my midpoint is going to be 85,000. Perfect. So there is my 10,000s, and we are really going to be looking at that 9,000, and I know that is larger than my midpoint for sure. It's about 4,000 here. See, if you look at it, 4,000 above. So that means that we are going to round to our maximum again. Yep, so it's going to be 790,000. Perfect. And the last one is going to be that 100,000. And I don't have quite much space for it, but I'm going to try. So I'm looking at that 7 and looking at that 8. I'm going to do the work right here for you. So that vertical number line. And we are working with that 700,000. So that is what I'm going to work with, 700,000. And my next 100,000 is going to be 800,000. And then my midpoint is going to be 750,000. And I am looking at that 8, and I know that's actually really, really close to that midpoint, or that above that midpoint. So I'm going to be rounding to the maximum there, and 800,000. Awesome. So I hope this really helped. I hope this really, you understood this vertical number line and rounding again, this extra practice. This is really good for you to see, good for you to solve, and understand how we are rounding using the vertical number line. All right, next we're going to be working on a word problem dealing with an estimate and looking at our exact to see if it is reasonable. This next section is very important. A lot of students did not do well yet on this section. So if you are working on this at home, please pay attention, and you will see this on your test. So the most important part of this problem is to work on each section and to read all instructions, because this is very important for us to be able to do when we take that test at the end. So let's read the instructions really carefully and begin. So Mr. Stephenson owns a bookstore. At the beginning of January, he had 5,974 books in the store. That seems like that's my total. So I am going to make a tape diagram, and it's going to be January, and it looks like that is going to be my total. Okay. Now, he sold 3,689 books that month. So it looks like he kind of sold a certain amount. He sold 3,689. And he gave away 1,250 books. So he gave away a certain amount as well. So gave away... He gave away 1,250 books. Okay. Now, they want to know, and this is my next section, part A, about how many books are left in the store. So it's this little section here. How many are left? And we don't have that amount. So we need to know, how much do we have left? But you have to continue to read, because this is a big section of what got kids wrapped up into just solving right away instead of reading the instructions. You need to estimate here by rounding each number to the nearest 1,000 and then solve. So we have to round to the nearest 1,000 and then solve. So let's do that. We are going to round each number and then solve, okay? So let's start with January's total. So 593,741. I am going to round to the nearest 1,000 here. I'm going to be looking at this 7, and that tells me that we are going to round up. Especially that is above the midpoint of 500. So my new total is going to be 594,000 books. So I went from 3,000 to 4,000. I went to the maximum, okay? And then we are subtracting what was sold. Remember, we are rounding. We are looking in the thousands, looking at this 6, and oh, what do you know? That 6 I know is above the midpoint. So what's my next 1,000? Well, it's going to be 4,000. And then he gave away a certain amount of books. All right, so I'm going to be rounding to the 1,000. So I am going to be looking at this too. Oh, and that looks like it's below the midpoint of 500, so I'm going to keep it at 1,000. I'm not going to go to 2,000. I'm just going to stay at 1,000. Okay? This is rounding. We are rounding to the nearest 1,000. I did this successfully. I rounded. I read all the instructions. So now what do? We find that missing piece. Well, we can subtract what was sold, and what was given away to the total, and we will find how many books are left in the store. So let's do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do some math on the side, and I'm going to combine the estimates. So I'm going to subtract 5,000 from the total, because these two equal 5,000, right? And I'm going to subtract it with the total. So I have to unbundle from the 3 to make this 10. And I have to unbundle again to make this 10, unbundle again to make this 10, and perfect. Oh, we do have an issue here, don't we? Oh, this is, sorry, that's not 10. Yeah, that is 10. Okay. Oh, sorry, Mr. Brown just started subtracting, and he did something, he made a good mistake. So 0, this is 0, so 0 subtract 0 is 0, 0 subtract 0 is 0. Now, we can't subtract in the hundreds, so let's unbundle from this 8 to make this 14. Sorry, Mr. Brown is on 21 minutes of doing this summary, so please just have a little sympathy for Mr. Brown. He's working real hard. And now we can subtract here. So we have 14 subtract 5 is 9, we have this 8, and we have this 5. So 589,000 is our estimate. Okay, it's what we rounded. So there we go. There's our first section for part A. Now, let's go to part B. All right, let's review our instructions for part B. Now, part B is different. They want us to use standard algorithm to find the exact number of books left in the store, the exact number. Then they want us to look at our exact number and the estimates and compare them and see, hey, is it reasonable? And explain. So we need to find the exact amount in part B. So let's do that. We are going to subtract here. So I'm going to take my information from part A and use that information here. So I am going to have my total. I am going to subtract what was sold. And do that math first. Okay? Boom. So now I'm going to look at each place value. So let's do it. So I'm going to unbundle, and this is going to become 11. 11 subtract 9 is 2. I'm going to go here. I can't subtract 3 and 8, so I am going to unbundle, add 10. Now I can. I got 5. I got 0. I got 0. I'm going to bring down the 9 and the 5. Okay? I got 590,052. I'm not done. I need to subtract again. I need to subtract what was given away. That 1,250. All right? Okay. So 2 subtract 0, well, that's 2. 5 subtract 5 is 0. I have to unbundle from this 8 here, or that 9. It's going to be 8. This is going to be 10. I have to unbundle again to make it 9. This becomes 10. Perfect. Now I can subtract. 10 subtract 2 is 8. 9 subtract 1 is 8. Bring down the 8 and the 5. Okay. Boom and boom. So I have my exact. I have 588,000. This is my exact. So I am going to be looking now at my exact number and my estimate, and are they reasonable? Are they close? They are. They are literally only 200 books away. It is reasonable that this is a close estimate and a close exact number. Okay? So what I'm going to write is, it is reasonable. It is reasonable. I'm not going to say because I worked hard. No, I'm going to give numbers here. It is reasonable because my exact number and estimates are a difference of 200 books. All right, they're very, very close. So that is it. All right, you're looking at your estimate, you're looking at your exact number, and you're telling me why it's reasonable. You're not saying because I worked hard or it's reasonable because it's reasonable. You have to give me a number here. You got to tell me why using numbers, using the information, using what we solved. All right, so that's it for this review. I hope that it was helpful, and I hope that you were able to study tonight and take some things away that you're going to use on the actual test. All right? Okay, cool. Thank you so much.